Thank you very much for joining me for this session of Dr. Plotzker's Mind. Hanukkah approaches. I made my last Hanukkah-related purchases, other than maybe what I need to make latkes, earlier today. Over 50 years, I've adapted to my wife's family's system. Really, as soon as we were married, their tradition has been to buy a single small gift, what the Christians would call stocking stuffers, one for each night. And every member of the household would get that. Sibs and parents who lived in different households would get a single gift, but there were also spending limits. And from the beginning, people lived far enough from us that we would have to ship some of the gifts. So the weight of what we bought would also impact on the final cost. Our gift list has expanded and contracted over those many decades. Children come in. Now we have 2 grandchildren added this year. Parents and siblings drop out of the guest list. We no longer expect our kids to buy one for each of us, as they did when they lived in our house. But currently, I have 3 children, 4 each, that's 12, and 2 grandchildren, 4 each, that makes 20, and 8 for my wife, that's 28. That's a lot of gifts, even though there's a relatively inflexible spending limit. It adds up. It's also a lot of decisions to make as you go from store to store, and think about what might give them a moment's pleasure as they light each candle. Finding the presents was not that hard. There are discount stores, there are farmers markets, there was a craft fair that enabled me to get 3 unique gifts that would not be obtainable anyplace else. I have a few, if not rules, then traditions. Everybody gets something that's edible. Edible is good because it's cheap and light. It's generally easy to find candy, though in the last 2 years it's become a little bit more difficult. The edibles need to be kosher. And what I have found over the last 2 years are some of the staples that I used to buy, either boxes of marzipan or similar biteable stuff, has disappeared from the shelves. And anything that comes in a box that was made in Turkey or Greece, or maybe even Belgium, no longer has a kosher mark. I don't know if the supervising rabbis price themselves out of the year's gig, or if the manufacturers in Europe are expressing their displeasure and willing to sacrifice the Jewish sliver of their market as a political statement. I do not know which it is. I do know that the small manufacturers no longer seek out a rabbi or get some other permission to put a kosher mark on their label as they once did. The big international conglomerates, they still do. So I was able to find gifts that my recipients could eat, but it was a more restrictive selection than what I had gotten used to. The majority of the gifts have to be mailed or shipped in some other way. It is tempting to do e-commerce, and for birthdays I do, but the reality is that if I were to go to Amazon or Walmart.com, the price I would pay exceeds the limits of spending that my wife and I set up. As a result, we bring our gifts home, we wrap them, designate who they are for, and my wife puts them as a collection into 2 boxes, one sent to Pittsburgh, the other sent to San Francisco. That way it gets done. The other thing that I have found this year that is a little different, but I don't understand why. In many, many previous years, I could go to Target or TJ Maxx or some other mass retailer, find a section with Hanukkah stuff that would include candles, wrapping paper, maybe some dreidels, some menorahs, novelty items like gelt or logo cups with a Hanukkah motif. The section at Target was very small and very difficult to find. I settled for one roll of gift wrap. TJ Maxx, my other staple for this, was even more problematic. I did not see any Hanukkah stuff at all. I went to the cashier, asked the cashier to check with the manager to see where they put the stuff or if they even had the stuff. I was told that whatever they had sold out except for a few mugs. That turned out not to be true. I went to the edible section to look at candy and coffee and the last 2 gifts that I needed to send to Pittsburgh. Intermingled with that were Hanukkah items with a table of fancy wrapped edibles. It included some with Hanukkah mug and cocoa on the same table as the various Christmas items with clear cellophane wrap that lets you see through it and hand it to the recipient. Same with the gift wrap. Amid hundreds of rolls of Christmas-themed wrap, there were 2 bins of Hanukkah wrap, not labeled as such, but when you take a few out of the box, you could see that entire box was dedicated to Hanukkah motif. I bought a roll, a big roll, enough so that I will have left over and not be dependent on going back next year. Now, why the change or whether it's a useful change is hard to tell. I think certainly Jews shopping for other Jews are going to congregate to the Hanukkah wrap or to the Hanukkah items. That may not be the case for Christians shopping for Jews. They may have Jewish family members or Jewish friends or business associates, and they need to wrap gifts, and therefore they go to the gift wrap and say, hey, let me get a roll of wrapping paper with a dreidel on it. I don't know if that's wise retailing or foolish retailing. It may be a bit like shopping for shoes. You know your size and you want to see what they have in your size, particularly if you have a somewhat unusual size. So it makes sense, to put all the 9 mediums in one place, but retailers often stock their shelves by style. You pick your style and then you see if they have it in your size. Depends how serious you are about shopping, whether you're browsing or whether you are targeting what you want to purchase. So with a little more difficulty, my purchases are done, awaiting wrapping and shipping. Thanks so much for sharing this session of Dr. Plotzker's Mind.